Have you ever felt like you're always moving but never actually arriving? Like no matter how much you earn, that sense of real freedom never comes. Here's a statistic that will make you uncomfortable. 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, including those earning six figures. But here's what's really disturbing. Most of these people aren't broke because they don't make enough money. They're trapped because they've unknowingly adopted the exact mindset designed to keep them exactly where they are. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who controlled the wealth of an entire empire, understood something about human psychology that most people today completely miss. He wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." The middle-class trap isn't about your salary, it's about your psychology. Most people never realize it's not the lack of money, but the excessive fear that keeps the chains locked. Today, we're going to expose the invisible chains that keep smart, hard-working people financially stuck forever. This video is different. It's deeper. I know because I've been there. The middle-class trap is the most sophisticated psychological prison ever created. It makes you feel like you're winning while ensuring you never actually win. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The middle-class mindset isn't about money. It's about safety, conformity, and appearing successful while being terrified of real risks. It's about emotional resilience in finances being destroyed by social expectations. This isn't another work harder speech. Those are part of the problem. You can't hustle your way out of a mental prison. This is about the invisible psychological mechanisms that create financial mediocrity. Once you see these chains, you can never unsee them. And that's when transformation becomes possible.
The ancient Stoics had a concept called preferred indifference. These were things that seemed important but weren't actually essential for a flourishing life. Money, status symbols, social approval. They called these externals because they were outside your direct control. Epictetus, who went from being a slave to becoming one of history's most influential philosophers, understood this better than anyone. He taught that true freedom comes not from having more, but from needing less, not from external validation, but from internal strength. Here's where this becomes revolutionary for your finances. The middle-class trap is built entirely on preferred indifference. It's a system that convinces you that your worth is measured by externals: your house, your car, your job title, your lifestyle. But here's the trap within the trap. The middle-class mindset teaches you to pursue these externals through the safest, most predictable path possible. Get good grades, get a good job, get a good salary, get good benefits, stay safe, stay predictable, stay trapped. The Stoics understood something that modern financial advice completely misses. True wealth isn't about accumulating more stuff. It's about developing the psychological strength to make decisions based on principles rather than fear. It's about financial resilience that comes from within, not from external circumstances. This is the framework we're going to use to dissect the middle-class trap. Because once you understand these principles, you'll see exactly why most people remain stuck, and more importantly, how you can break free. The first invisible chain of the middle-class trap is the illusion of security. Most people believe that financial security comes from having a steady job, a regular paycheck, and predictable benefits. This sounds reasonable, right? But here's what they don't tell you. This type of security is actually the most dangerous form of financial vulnerability. When you build your entire financial life around one income source, even a good one, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. You're trading potential for predictability. You're choosing the illusion of safety over actual strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." But the middle-class mindset does the opposite. It obsesses over future security while remaining completely passive about creating it. Think about it. The person with a single six-figure salary feels secure, but they're actually more financially fragile than someone with multiple smaller income streams. Why? Because their entire financial ecosystem depends on factors completely outside their control. Their employers' decisions, industry changes, economic shifts. The Stoic approach to financial resilience is different. Instead of seeking security through dependence, you build security through capability. Instead of hoping nothing bad happens, you develop the skills and mindset to handle whatever does happen. But here's the most powerful insight. When you stop chasing absolute security, you actually become more secure. You develop what Nassim Taleb calls anti-fragile growth, the ability to get stronger from challenges rather than being destroyed by them. So how do you actually apply this? Start by identifying every aspect of your financial life that depends on someone else's decisions. Then ask yourself, how can I reduce this dependence while building my own capabilities? But what if I told you the real trap is even more insidious? The second chain is what I call lifestyle inflation, disguised as success. This is where the middle-class trap becomes truly psychological. Most people don't realize they're trapped because the trap feels like winning. You get a raise, so you upgrade your lifestyle. You get a promotion, so you buy a bigger house. You want to look successful, so you spend like someone successful. But here's the cruel irony. The more you try to look wealthy, the less wealth you actually build. The more you focus on appearing successful, the further you get from actual financial freedom. Epictetus taught his students to distinguish between what's up to us and what's not up to us. Your income is partially up to you. Your spending is completely up to you. Your need for social approval? That's not up to you at all. It's an external that will drain your resources forever. The middle-class trap exploits this perfectly. It convinces you that your worth is measured by your consumption, that success means having the right car, the right house, the right vacations, the right lifestyle. But every dollar you spend trying to look successful is a dollar that can't work for you. Every purchase made for social approval is a purchase that moves you further from financial independence. Here's a practical test. Look at your last 10 purchases over $100. How many were for your actual needs versus your perceived image? This isn't about living like a monk. It's about understanding the difference between spending that builds wealth and spending that destroys it. The Stoics practiced something called voluntary discomfort, deliberately choosing less to build strength. In financial terms, this means choosing mindfulness applied to money over mindless consumption. And here's the most counterintuitive part. When you stop trying to look wealthy, you actually start building wealth. When you stop caring about external approval, you start making decisions that serve your actual interests. But Marcus Aurelius didn't stop there. He understood something about human psychology that creates the deepest trap of all. The third invisible chain is binary thinking about risk and reward. The middle-class mind sees the world like a light switch. On, off, safe, dangerous, steady job, entrepreneurial chaos. But real wealth lives in the dimmer switch, in the intelligent adjustments between black and white. This binary thinking keeps people trapped in financial mediocrity forever. They're so afraid of losing what they have that they never build what they could have. They choose slow, predictable decline over uncertain but potentially transformative growth. Here's a real example. I know someone who stayed in a corporate job for 15 years, earning good money but never building real wealth. Meanwhile, their friend left the corporate world and created multiple income streams. freelancing, investments, small business ventures. Not a billionaire, but actually free to choose. The difference? One saw only two options: complete safety or reckless gambling. The other found intelligent paths between extremes. The Stoics understood that real wisdom lies in this middle space. It's about being bold with purpose rather than reckless with emotion. It's about maximizing opportunity while minimizing unnecessary risk. Nassim Taleb calls this anti-fragility. Anti-fragile means you don't just survive uncertainty, you grow because of it. Remember, anti-fragile isn't about surviving the storm, it's about growing stronger every time the winds blow. When you stop seeing only two choices, you start finding the paths that make you stronger from challenges. Think about wealthy people you know. How many got rich through one big gamble? Almost none. They got wealthy through systematic decision-making, patience, and emotional control in finances guiding every choice. The supposedly safe path is actually the riskiest path of all, because it guarantees you'll never build real wealth or freedom. Money buys options, but only the right mindset buys liberty. So how do you actually apply this ancient wisdom to escape the middle-class trap? The Stoics had a practice called the discipline of desire, learning to want what you have rather than constantly wanting more. But this isn't about settling for less. It's about building from a position of strength rather than desperation. Here's the practical framework. First, audit your current financial psychology. Are your decisions driven by genuine needs or social expectations? Are you building wealth or building an image? Are you creating security or creating dependence? Second, develop what I call financial stoicism. This means making money decisions based on principles rather than emotions. It means having the discipline to delay gratification when necessary, and the courage to take calculated risks when appropriate. Third, focus on building capabilities rather than accumulating stuff. Every skill you develop, every system you create, every relationship you build, these become assets that can't be taken away from you. They provide real security in an uncertain world. But here's where most people get this wrong. They think financial freedom means having enough money to maintain their current lifestyle forever. But that's still thinking like a middle-class person. Real financial freedom means having the resources and capabilities to adapt to any situation. The ultimate escape from the middle-class trap isn't about making more money. It's about developing the psychological strength to make decisions based on your values rather than your fears. It's about building a life where you have genuine choices rather than just the illusion of choices. And here's the transformation that happens when you truly understand this. You stop being controlled by money and start controlling it. You stop being trapped by circumstances and start creating them. So let me ask you some uncomfortable questions. What decisions are you making out of fear rather than wisdom? What parts of your lifestyle are about genuine satisfaction versus social approval? Where are you choosing the illusion of security over the development of real strength? Here's the truth that most people can't handle. The middle-class trap isn't something that happens to you. It's something you participate in, day after day, choice after choice. Every time you prioritize looking successful over being successful, you tighten the chains. But here's the liberating part. If you created the trap, you can also escape it. If your psychology built the prison, your psychology can also break the walls. The ancient Stoics understood that the only real freedom comes from within. External circumstances will always change. Markets will rise and fall. Jobs will come and go. Economic conditions will shift. But when you develop true financial resilience, the kind that comes from psychological strength rather than external security, you become truly anti-fragile. You become someone who gets stronger from challenges rather than weaker. Remember, the goal isn't to have more money. The goal is to have more choice. The goal isn't to look successful. The goal is to be free. The goal isn't to escape all risk. The goal is to develop the strength to handle any risk. If you built the prison, you can break it. If this message struck a nerve, it's because deep down, you know there's more waiting beyond the middle-class script. Here's what I want you to do. Look at your financial decisions from the past month and identify one choice that was driven by social expectation rather than genuine value. Just one. Then ask yourself, what would I have done differently if I was making this decision purely for my own benefit rather than for how it would look to others? Share your insight in the comments. When you share your experience, you're helping create a community of people who are actively breaking this invisible cycle. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to escape their own mental prison. Subscribe to keep feeding your millionaire brain and hit that like button if this video gave you a new perspective on your relationship with money and success. If this video made you see your life in a new way, send it to a friend and set them free too. The middle-class trap is invisible until you choose to see. So, what are you going to do differently tomorrow?